back again, back to the Boleyn series, and I'm joined by my co-host on Saturday mornings, match day mornings, Jazz. How are you, sir? And are you looking forward to this, Jazz? This will be interesting for me and all.
As you know, I love history, I love our club, and I love going back to the days of when I was a child at school. You know, everyone's fond of that time when you didn't have any mortgages, you didn't have any worries. You know, you're living for free. Your life was West Ham United and Panini sticker albums, and just living a dream, wasn't it? Really. So I love being nostalgic, and I think it's a great new show and great new concept that you've done. That not many channels, if any, have done. We all love going back to our childhood, don't we? And any excuse, mate. I mean, yeah, banging on your door, mate, early to get on there. And yeah, I look forward to sharing my memories of how I became a fan and just going back to being a kid, mate. Yeah.
Well, let's take it. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's begin and where it all started for you, Jazz, and why you become a West Ham fan, mate.
Yeah, I was born in West London in an area called Southall, which is called Mini India. It's just near Ealing. So certainly not from the East End. My father came to India at the age of 12 in 1965, I think. And he told me that I became a West Ham fan because of the 1966 World Cup and Bobby Moore. He wanted to know who Bobby Moore plays for. And I think you're going to hear about this more and more as your programs in these series, you know, talk to people from outside the manor, so to speak. So as soon as he found out Bobby Moore plays for West Ham, as a 19-20-year-old for living in Southall, so you would catch the you would catch the railway, the overland one from Southall to Ealing Broadway. Then it's another 25 stops straight from Ealing Broadway to Upton Park. So he was a season ticket holder, or certainly didn't miss a game from the years from around 73 to 75, really. And he got the bug. And being born in that house, which I've carried on to my generation, is if you're going to live in his house, you support West Ham. That's the end of, mate. And that's how it started from my dad, really. Yeah, I didn't want a choice. I didn't have a choice, and that's how the love for West Ham carried on into my kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you got older and you started following the club, let's start off at the beginning. Where was your first seat at the Boleyn ground, and did you ever change to a different stand?
Well, you got to laugh now. Dad was a bit of a posh one, really. So a couple of things what we did. I mean, my first ever memory as a West Ham fan is Tony Cottey's debut. 1st of January, 1983. I think I was 8. It's my first recollection that, oh my God, I'm a West Ham fan. We beat Tottenham 3-0. We watching it. Dad goes, our game's going to be on the big match on ITV at 10 o'clock. And Dad's like, yeah, you can stay up. As you're really, really primary school kid, you normally get sleep at 9:30, 10 at the most. And being a Saturday, so excited. Dad's like, we've beaten them. And I remember watching the big match and all of that. And then going back to the seat. We always sat in the West Stand upper, mate. We always sat in the West. And my dad always drove, going back to being comfortable, a bit posh thinking. So we always used to drive. So it would be, my dad and me, my younger brother. My sister was a lot younger. She wasn't born till a lot later. And so it'd be West Stand upper, mate. West Stand upper. Yeah. Just behind the director's box, mate.
Did you ever change seats though, Jazz? Did you ever sit in a different stand on an occasion? And if so, did you like it?
So if I carry on from the time when I first went, so I started to go when we got relegated. So I never saw a match under John Lyle, which I'll always regret. And being from West London, James, you can only go if your parents take you. I'm not going to be allowed to take 1.5-hour journey by myself when I'm 14, 15. It's just not going to happen. So I really envy of people like maybe you are more local, maybe Nicky, West Ham Fans TV. And Nicky says that I didn't realise how lucky I was. And other people I know, I wasn't that lucky. I love West Ham, same passion as you local guys had, but I just could not go. But when I went, it was always around that. So we didn't have a season ticket. So we were all, so what Dad used to do was he would ring up the club line, pay for the ticket with a credit card, and then whatever tickets came through is always in the West End, mate. It's always in the West End at the beginning. We might be a couple of rows here and there, but that's where it was from the beginning, really. And 1989-90 season when we went down, when I didn't see Paul Ince and Luke McCurry's first season, that's where it all began for me in terms of being live fan at the ground, mate. Yeah.
Did you when you went to different stands and different places and all that? Is there anywhere where you didn't feel like the same sort of atmosphere, or did you think it was better at other stands, or what?
My first game, luckily, was a midweek game under the floodlights. You know, this is a program from the game. This picture you see is from Devonshire's testimonial. So Frank McAvenny had broken his leg in the first away game at Stoke, which I think was 1-1 or 0-0. Paul Ince, for reasons we know, he never showed up. So you've got George Paris. We've got completely new sponsors, like Avco was the ones before. You see Ian Wright playing for Crystal Palace, George Paris. So being a midweek game, James, you will not believe when you actually walk into the tunnel area, floodlights are on, all you can see is the pitch in front of you. As a kid, oh my God. It's like a coliseum, mate. You know, you go there, all you can see is the pitch. And what I realize is the crowds back then were probably a lot less. Are you talking 21, 22,000? We were one of the big boys in that league, alongside with Leeds, Newcastle, Sheffield United, and everyone wanted to beat us. But it's just being a kid. And I remember we got stuck in traffic. So, you know, East End humour, like the guys go, well, you bloody come from Bombay, mate. Well, you lot be like, we missed the first 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? The banter started straight away before we sat down. There's me, my younger brother, and my dad. So that's my first memories. Floodlit match at home. We won 2-0. Stu Slater scored both the goals. And from then, we didn't hardly miss any games, mate, from that season anyway. So that's the start of it, yeah.
Yeah. What about this one, Jazz? I've got another one for you. Did you have a pre or post match ritual for each game? So when you used to go, what was your sort of, well, obviously you're from West London, like you turn up and what was your pre and post match routine, mate?
Well, being a kid, we just got to make sure we leave on time, mate. So you won't believe it. We have to leave by midday, the latest, to get there. You know, the East End is full of traffic going across the A40, North Circular, all the way from West London. It takes time, mate, to get parking. All it used to be is because I'm an avid collector, so all I wanted to see was the program as a kid. I want to buy the program. Dad, give me 50p. I'm going to buy it. I want to buy it over land and sea. I just used to collect things. And you remember the people selling the badges on Green Street. You know, my younger brother was like 7 years younger, so he wanted a cheeseburger quick as possible and things like that, and just buy the badges. You know, like as a kid, you haven't got money, but Dad, come on, I want to buy that, I want to buy that, I want to buy that. And so there was no really any kind of ritual. It's just like, get ready when Dad tells you, and as a kid, you're going to be ready in the morning. And then just visualizing what's going to happen when you go. We're going to buy the burger. We're going to buy the program, the fanzine, a few badges, and just see how the game goes, mate. It's like a dream, you know. Especially because I said I didn't go live until I was 15, 16, and obviously I became a fan in '83, so I had to wait 6-7 years before going to a game. So it's in me. You know, can you believe all those years of not being able to go because I'm not a local boy and have to wait till my dad said we're going to go this year. And so that's the kind of thing. The passion was just had a lid on it until I could go live, mate, and then just no looking back. Yeah.
And when you sort of grew older and become a season ticket holder, and what would you do pre-match? Was it just straightforward, get there and go to the ground, or would you go and have something to eat, or go and have a drink somewhere, or what would you do?
Not really, because I took my wife a couple of times. She's not a big fan. And the first game she ever saw was the Barnsley 6-0. John Hartson scored a hat-trick, I think, that game. Frank Lampard got a couple of goals. Bolton or Barnsley, one of them, I can't remember now. And she thought it was always like that. I bought her a little bobble hat. But not really ritual, really. You get there quick as you can, grab a burger. Again, like I said, at the new ground, you don't smell the onions. I bought a cheeseburger, James, at the OS, and I go, where's the onion? She goes, only there's 2 under there. You didn't see them. She lifted a patty up to show me. So you don't get that. And you see the prices are £7 for a burger, and they give you chips half cooked, like 4 of them. I go, that's nice. So it's all about just getting there and seeing everyone and looking at the road, how quick it used to be, sort of from the station. If you went that way, I used to drive more than not, really, just to make it more comfortable going back. It's just getting there, mate. Getting there. You anticipation, really. So yeah, just getting there, getting into the atmosphere, and getting your team colours on, your scarf, and that kind of thing, really. Yeah.
It's good, mate. It's good. It's good to hear, especially from someone who's been there in its heyday, basically. Do you know what I mean? This is another one for you, Jazz. The best game you saw at the Boleyn.
Yeah, I was listening to the Gatesy one, mate. I mean, because I've been off a month from work, the wife got me sorting out the ensuite upstairs. So listening to Gatesy's one. Gates is very similar age to me, I think, and Duke. It's got to be the last game, mate. It's got to be the last game, because I was so fortunate. You won't believe it. Through the ballot, you're going to have a go at me now. I got 5 tickets for the Man United game. Everyone's like, Jazz, that... Even people like Stella Ines, oh, give me one if you can. I'm like, I've got 5. So my 3 children, my wife and me, we drove to the last game. We got there really early. So when the team coach got attacked, I didn't know what was going on, James. We're getting messages from the family saying, you guys all right? You all right? And all that. I'm like, what are you saying now? I'm all right. And it wasn't the West Stand. It's right at the back. The last row at the back, mate. I got the tickets. That's got to be the one, mate, because of what it meant. And being Indian origin, we are very spiritual. We believe in reincarnation and things happening for a reason. And if I told you that the last ever game in our ground is going to be 3-2 and we're going to beat Man United, and James, you might not remember, our last home game was meant to be against Swansea. Look how unsexy that is. And then it got changed. And one of the clubs that we've always been up against for any game, I would say even above the Liverpool game, Tottenham and Man United, the 2 clubs. When you're playing at home, it's electric. We hate those clubs. It's electric, and look how the one above did it. It's Man United, and it's 3-2, is it?
Yeah, I think it's very fitting that we did have Manchester United, considering in the Premier League era they were the dominant force. And
not only that, I mean, you win 3-2 in the West Ham way. I mean, this is what West Ham, everyone's second favourite team, that there's goals. You go behind, you go ahead, you go behind again. Then you end up winning the game. And it's just like the way the gods would have written it. So I'm very spiritual, always believing it was meant to happen that way.
Let's take away the last game of the Boleyn. What other games would you say have been memorable in your opinion?
I remember beating Liverpool 3-1 under Big Sam with Downing scoring. I remember that game because a lot of people have supported Liverpool in my family. I brought a couple of them to the game. I remember, especially my first season. It's not I mean, in that age, obviously being in the second division, I remember beating Sheffield United 5-0, Jimmy Quinn hat-trick. I remember that game top of my head. I remember January the 1st even got the programme against Barnsley. We had Ian Bishop, Trevor Morley, and another guy making his debut, Jimmy Quinn, I think. So as a kid, you always like transfers and people you sign. I used to love it as a kid. Who are you going to sign? That's why under Harry we liked it a bit. That kind of game. Antonio Spurs 1-0. I was there in the rain, the last game. That atmosphere, James, was kind of aggressive. Not aggressive, but proper electric, saying these are Spurs and their fans are there. And we did a long walk. Me and my son were there. We beat them 1-0. So Spurs 1-0. That one. Apart from that, if you weren't a season ticket holder, because I didn't have the time. I was working. The kids were young. So the only games you get tickets for are usually like the £1 kids for £1, like Bolton, Blackburn, Derby, that kind of game. So those games. And Arsenal 3-3. I know we didn't win. Last game, Andy Carroll hat-trick, I was there. 2 goals disallowed. The guy behind me was having a go at Carroll throughout the game, James. And you know when you got kids, they're using the naughty words, and I'm like, should I say something? My wife's, and then the guy, like, it's not nice when you shouldn't really say those words. I know it's a football game, but he was gunning at Carroll. You know, I'm one of those. I don't like to have a go at our own players, not in that aggressive way. He scored a hat trick, and then he's with his 2 mates, and I could have made a big deal out of it. But like you said, we didn't get Europe that year because the referee decisions, as you know. We could have easily got Europe. Pye being injured by the Everton kit, MacArthur deliberately. So those are the memories. Drawing Arsenal, beating Spurs, beating Man United, beating Liverpool.
Would you say another one, which I thought was one of the best atmospheres that I've seen, is the 2004 playoff semi-final against Ipswich?
I'll tell you what, I wasn't there, but watching it from home, mate. If you remember the trumpets came out. You remember? They set the whole scene. I think Bent scored in the first leg. We went 1-0 down. Yeah. Oh my God! Oh, I could feel it, mate. Whoa! Yeah. Evening game, midweek. It was rocking when that Effington goal went diagonally that way. Oh wow!
Yeah,
and I think you were there. I think you were there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was amazing, mate. Like, it was like every 38,000 fans who were West Ham fans were all together as one, and we was literally pushing this team over the line, and all they had to do is
were you season ticket holder at that time? I just want to know, was it easy to get a ticket if you're not season ticket holder? I just want to know.
Nah, what it was, I had a cousin who was like a season ticket holder, and I would go from time to time, but I was only about 17.
Where were you sitting then? Behind the goal or east?
I was in the Betway stand, like the Dr. Martin stand, but I was in the corner, sort of basically towards the Trevor Brook.
Oh wow, you must have had a party, mate. Wow.
It was proper, yeah. And I'll be honest with you, it was a surreal atmosphere. Like, it's one of the best atmospheres, and I think it's up there with the final one, if I'm honest.
Do you know what it is? Game. I think James, what it is? No one knows what's going to happen. This just happens instantly, spontaneously. You don't know like which game's going to. And you know, through history, people talk about the '76 Eintracht Frankfurt West Ham semi-final. And when you watch it on TV, Joe, you can see it. The bloody ground is flying in the air, mate. Brookings scores, I think, goes that way, puts in that corner. Yeah, and Liverpool 4-1, 1988-89, Paul Ince 2 goals. You can tell it's going ballistic. People are jumping out of their seats. But that's what that's the example. So in numbers, you're talking 24, 25, 26,000 people at the most. But I'm not being there where, wow, the noise, the aggression, the adrenaline flowing is unbelievable, man.
Yeah. What was the worst game you see, though, Jez? From a West Ham point of view, what was one of the games that you was at the Boleyn and you thought that's just been a waste of 90 minutes of my life that I won't get back, sort of thing?
There's been a few that I didn't mind. It's not silly. I mean, call it that. You know, we've had managers who haven't respected the FA Cup, so we've gone out. Yeah. But going back to 89-90, when it really mattered, when you're in that second division, you remember Harold Wilkinson's Leeds United team with Vinnie Jones, Gordon Strachan, Gary Speed, Batty, Fairclough, Sterland. All these players came to Upton Park, and it's between the 2 biggest juggernauts, the 2 biggest clubs. They done us 1-0. Vinnie Jones done Tony Gale on the semicircle. He didn't play for ages. That was pretty disappointing for me. I mean, it might not mean a lot to a lot of the fans who are a little bit younger than me, but when you're playing a big top of the table clash and you go down 1-0 without hardly doing anything, and this is a time where they used to pass the ball back to the goalkeeper a lot, and they came to do a job. So basically, Harold Wilkinson was a Sam Allardyce of his time. He managed Sheffield Wednesday, who knocked us out in 85-86 FA. They're like an army, James. They were like drilled. Nothing great to watch, but they go there, duff you up, do a job, and go back to the. And I think it kicked off in the crowd as well. It kicked off twice that year, Newcastle and Leeds. Because I've seen bits where Newcastle fans used to get a little bit. I don't know if they wanted to make a name for themselves in Green Street. What the hell are you lot doing? They're jumping up and down, making a lot of noise, and just making nuisance of themselves. Newcastle and Leeds I can see the atmosphere is quite big with big clubs with passionate fans, and so it'd be that one, mate. I mean, yeah, I mean, apart from that, like I said, I didn't go for a lot of the years with the family and everything, but
Yeah.
that'd be the one. And then Payet's season, I can't be disappointed because did so well that year. You know, we did really well. We won most of our games. So it'd be that Leeds game for some of the history people. It'd be 1989-90. We lost 1-0. Vinnie Jones actually scored with a back heel. They came to do a job, mate, on us, and they did it. Yeah.
Right. This one I am looking forward to asking you. Lot of years seeing West Ham, a lot of good players in their time. But who is your favourite player you see at the Boleyn?
So, as usual, I'm going to split into two sections. So, my favourite player in my first part of my life was... so, when I went to that season, James, I knew we got Frank McAvenny in the squad. And for me, he was like those Hollywood actors, you know, that certain look, that kind of command, score. You know, as a kid, strikers always... You're not going to find a kid at school who says, yeah, that left back's my favourite, or my right back's my centre back. We always look for strikers as kids, don't we? Whoever scores is the hero, you know?
Yeah.
And so at the Boleyn, I would say the best player I saw is Julian Dix. It's Julian Dix, especially in that season because Lou Macari gave him the... That's another thing I'm going to go on to. He's a very controversial figure, and I know Frank McAvenny is not very kind about him, and I understand why. But for me, when you look at a manager who's only our manager for 6 months, and then he signs Ludo Miklosko, Martin Allen, Ian Bishop, Trevor Morley, Jimmy Quinn, makes Dix captain, brings Stuart Slater into the fold. The only bad mistake he done was sign Colin Foster. But it has to be Julian Dix because I could not believe how a guy from left back could dominate a game. Can you imagine that? A guy playing left back is dominating the whole game in terms of he's spraying balls 40 yards that way, 30 yards that way, 20 yards that way. Every corner he takes, every free kick he takes, and he's the captain. He's got to be Julian Dix, mate. What a player. And the way he got treated by England, I think is absolutely shocking, mate. You know how he wasn't capped, not given more respect. It's Julian Dix for me, seeing him in the real flesh, mate. But I have a soft spot for Frank McAvenny. That's all I just wanted to say.
Yeah.
I saw him at one of the events a couple of years ago. Got really nice pictures with him. I have a very soft spot for Frank McAvenny, but Julian Dix, because McAvenny was injured, that he broke his leg. Chris Kamara broke his leg in the first game that year with Stoke. So I saw him in March that year later on. And obviously seeing this guy in real flesh, wow, McAvenny. But Dix, seeing the trade, it's Dix, mate.
And who would it be in the sort of last, say, 20 years? Who would you say has been one of your top players, or if not a few of them?
Last 20 years, Payet will never forget that, mate. We'll never forget that we had a player like that. You see that free kick against Crystal Palace. How the hell? We followed football for a long time, James, and you see what that ball does against Palace. What the hell did that went to Green Street to Nathan's Pie, came back again, and the goalkeeper was like, "What the?"
Yeah.
So Payet will have to be up there. This season has been pretty exciting as well with the Lingards and people like that, and but there's not been, to be honest, I mean, the last 10, 15 years, I mean, there's been bits and, Downings and Carroll now and again. And
would you say...
Sacco and...
Would you say Di Canio? Would you say Di Canio would have been one of your favourite players in the late 90s?
So what it is, a couple of seasons stand out. So when we finished 5th or 6th with Harry, so Di Canio, John Hartson, Steve Lomas... Those players really clicked that season. Even people like Unsworth, and I remember Gatesy saying Ian Pearce. I know what you mean. He played in the 3 with Unsworth, with the 2 wing backs bombing with Trevor Sinclair. I love Trevor Sinclair because I played as a right back for school, and I know how hard that position is, and especially wing back. You got to be mad to play wing back. Mate.
What about Tim Breaker?
Robot? Oh my God, Robot, as we call him with love. Brilliant player. When we signed him, I was really happy because we needed a
Yeah.
fullback that time. So it's either going to be him or the Oldham guy. I think Barrett, his name was. I think Earl Barrett, he went to sign for another club. But I love Tim Breaker. Does his job, goes under the radar. But he's like Steve Potts. You're 7 out of 10 every game. You're never going to be like, never going to be anyone's favourite player, but you do your job. And as a fullback, I love Tim Breaker. Steve Potts went under the radar. John Hartson, I love John Hartson. Paul Kitson, Stevie Lomas. What a Captain Marvel. Get stuck in there. Dixie, as we know, came back twice. Cotty came back twice, but it's never the same thing. But there's not been. We're talking about 2-3 seasons going back last 15, so we have been a little bit.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot now, Jez. In reverse order, who would be your top 3? So start off with 3 and get to 1.
Dix would be the number 1 for me. Dixie would be 1. The Kenya would be 2, and Kenya would be 2, and then I'm thinking. Because don't forget, McAvenny coming back the second time didn't happen, mate. Didn't happen. Even though he scored a hat-trick in his last game, no, I can't say him because this is watching live, isn't it? This is about watching someone live. So Dixie, the Canio, and oh god, it's a tricky one, isn't it? So it's going to be. I'm going to go for Payet. I think I'm going to go for Payet. But having said that, the way this season is going, mate, I might have to change the Lingard. But Payet. But Lingard I haven't seen live anyway. To be, it's going to be Payet, isn't it? I think Payet.
Yeah, I think for what Payet done in that season, I know he left, and I know he left under a cloud and all that. But I think when we look back in years to come, we would always remember that season, and we'd always remember how good that season was with Payet in our team. Do you know what I mean? So we can always be thankful for that.
I remember that season after 8 games. I hate Tottenham anyway. So my cousin's like, he ain't good as Dele Alli, is he? I said, shut the, I said, Dele is nothing in front of Payet. You go back to sleep where you come from. And obviously, Kane came on the scene and done well from Payet. Yeah, just so sad the way things happen. But I don't know if it was his personal life or was it the way the board spent the money. But I remember that first game. I was there at the warm-up game against Juve. I was there when first ground, and when I saw him, there's something off on his face. Like obviously his name was mentioned. I was like, yeah, he just didn't. You couldn't tell. Like there's something wrong with. There's something wrong with his face. There's something I saw in the Liverpool game today, but we'll discuss it another time.
Yeah,
things, know when something ain't right, mate. We can read the faces. So he wasn't.
So let me ask you this then, Jazz. What memorabilia you got? Let's see the memorabilia that you're going to provide for us before I get to the final question.
So the first one's going to be this is the first ever game I ever saw.
What year was that, mate?
This is 1989, August the 23rd. My first ever home game I ever saw as a 15-year-old. This is my program. I think the cost was 50. Actually, it's £1. Wow, it's £1. This program is so special. Like I said, it's New Year's Day, January the 1st. Dad's like, let's go. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff, whatever. So inside, it gives you the whole history of the 1990s. The whole history of the whole club, page by page. So I would recommend anyone to get this program. It's playing Barnsley. We had 3 players, like I was mentioning, making their debut. Jimmy Quinn, Trevor Morley, Ian Bishop, and all those people. This program, my letters printed in it as a 15-year-old, the Bournemouth game. So what I did was I mentioned my team of the 90s. But there was another publication, newspaper, used to be called Hammers News. And again, my mum threw it away in the bin we were discussing earlier. My mum threw away all of my Panini sticker album collection. And there's a certain Mr. Jazz Apple there, age of 15. There, people can see it. 15-year-old, my letters in there, team of the 90s. Yeah.
Oh,
Jazz, yeah, team of the 90s. So, and I didn't think they're going to publish it. I just did it, and I thought, oh my god, my letters in there. So my letting the Hammers news is about plastic pitches. So if you remember, we lost to Oldham 6-0 in the semi-final in Luton. So my letter says that plastic pitches should be banned. And the other memorabilia, mate, is my first ever shirt as a 16-year-old when I got my first job.
Yeah.
It's all framed, and Julian Dix signed it with my kid. Kids are there with Julian. So that's a big one for me, mate. And then the last one.
And what year was that, Jazz? What year was that shirt?
That shirt was bought just before the semi-final with Nottingham Forest with Tony Gale sending off. Just before that. So 19... Was it? Yeah, before the 90 semi-final. So Forest Spurs were in the final where the Gazzo broke his leg doing the injury. So we lost 4-1 or 4-0, I think. Tony Gale. Yeah. Villa Park. You know, John Lyles. Billy Bonds, Clear and Blue Army. Oh my God, what atmosphere! So I wasn't there, but watching it, distraught. So that's from that season. I think we had that. We had that shirt for 2 years, and back as a window company like Everest or something like Jeff Hurst used to promote them. So that was a big thing because we changed sponsors for the first time since '83. So Avco was the one. And Avco Loans, I found out because I'm a bit of a nerd. So Avco Loans is a loan finance company based in Reading, Berkshire, where I live.
Yeah,
I live in Berkshire now, anyway. So completely different shirt, and it's one of the loved ones. You know, some shirts are not that popular at the beginning because the collar's a bit funny. You got a button there. You're not used to it. You know, who had a button around your collar back then? But people have gone quite fondly like that one. It's the one Ian Dowie was signed under. All those kind of people, Stuart Slater, Trevor Morley, Jimmy Quinn, Bishop. I love Bish. You did your Hammers 11, and Bishop was my Hammers 11, James, alongside Scott Parker in the middle. So I've got to watch it one anyway. It
was. I had a choice between Michael Hughes, Ian Bishop, or going back to sort of generation of me growing up, sort of thing. And
what I did cleverly, I put Trevor Sinclair's fullback, and I stuck the Kenny on the wing, so I could have Cotty McAvenny up front. I think top my head, so I kind of just like because I think Trevor Sinclair could play fullback. He was a machine. The Canio as a winger, cutting in easily could do it, man. You can't even get the ball off the guy. That's one thing about the Kenny. I hardly saw him lose the ball, mate. Oh my God, what a guy! But yeah, these were the memories. Yeah, never saw Paul Ince, Julian Dix getting to the game early, buying the fanzines. I don't see fanzines at the OS, mate, James. I mean, I don't see it being sold a lot. The fanzines.
Nah.
I don't see that. I don't see
technology
that
now, isn't it?
I can't smell onions. I can't see anyone selling the old programs like you used to. I don't see anyone selling the badges, which were a great thing back in the... Remember the two old ladies like used to have badges. You know, badges were famous then, collecting badges. What else? Yeah, supporters. Good news on the supporters buys. We're gonna, because I'm a member of the supporters club. I think they're gonna. There's a deal going on at the moment where we're gonna hire a bar really close to the ground. We're already there, but it's gonna be even better. So I think they had an AGM last week for anyone watching, which I bloody forgot to watch. To be fair, I registered for it and forgot about it. It's all online, but I think they managed to buy some memorabilia from the old ground, like the crest that was outside the Bobby Moore stand, something like that going on. These are the memories, mate. These are the memories, and but you got to consider being from West London. My whole family were like Liverpool, a few idiots, Man United, a lot of Chelsea's at school, a few Brentfords, a couple of QPRs. And all that thing is, I don't follow the crowd, mate. You know, I'm one of those. I actually get a kick out of being different and causing, mate. I've been in pubs around here, mate, with my West Ham shirt. We're playing Liverpool. All Liverpool fans in there. I'm giving it a big one. No one even messed, mate. Getting there, we scored, done. Yeah, I get a kick out of it. I love it. And no one says nothing. They go, yeah, fair play, mate. I'm like, can you imagine being in London and everyone in this bloody classroom sports Liverpool? I'm like, what? Why do you support Liverpool? Because I saw the league table and they were top of the league. I'm like, you plonker.
Yeah.
And there've been examples, James. I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry. There've been examples of my cousins have been up to Liverpool and the Liverpool fans have had a go and things have kicked off in there. And they're scared of our ground. We don't want to. I go, look, come with me, mate. Come with me. Don't get scared. It wasn't that bad, was it? I'm like, Jesus Christ. People just make perceptions about our club, the fans. I'm like, we are like the real deal, mate. Real deal.
I would say we're like a family community. we're
But
like
people
a
are
community club.
People are
Yeah.
scared of getting to West because they watch Green. All right. A lot of that did go on, hands up.
Mm.
But even those lads, Kaz and them, I've met them enough time. Good lads, mate. Good heart. That was a period that you go through, you know. And those guys have done well. Kaz has done brilliantly with his books. I love his podcast, and the other lads have done really well in their personal life. Like you said, East London was a tough life back then, you know, and those boys have come out of it. Well, I love
what it is.
yeah.
They all stick together though, Jez. That's the thing. Like, and as a unit, that's what we always are. Like
special family, aren't we?
Yeah, and that's what it is. That's what it's all about. Now, Jazz, this is the final question, mate, of your bowl. Back to the bowling, and it's the best memory of the bowling ground, mate. And this could be anything from like a place that you went beforehand, smell of the atmosphere, anything. What's your memory, mate? What's your fond memory that you won't forget?
Do you know what it is? There is a memory I won't forget, but I'm not sure if it's gonna. Because even watching the Gatesy, I was getting emotional, you know, and he mentioned it, you know. When the Man United game finished,
yeah.
And the lights went off, and Bobby Moore's picture came up, and I looked at my wife, and
yeah,
that was it, mate.
Yeah, take your time, Jazz. You're all right.
No, that was it.
Yeah, it was.
When they showed the old
like,
pictures, and I didn't even want. I don't know why I'm being. I didn't even want Paul Allen there, mate. You know, I got a separate issue with Paul. I didn't want him there, because he doesn't like our club. He left us for Tottenham. He turns up, and when the lights went off and they showed the old images of Lyle and Bonds, I couldn't contain it. I mean, and the wife looked at me. I looked the other way, and like, Jesus Christ, I hate getting emotional anyway. And but you know that would knock the stuffing out of any man, you know what I mean? I'm like, is this it? I'm like, oh my God. And then and then my dad wasn't with me, because I told you, and I'm honest on the show, I don't get on him at the moment. There's a few things, and I wish I gave up one of the tickets for him, and I wasn't talking, and I'm still not talking a lot to him. That hurt me, because he took me there. I wanted him to be, because I had 5 tickets, but it's all those things, mate. Yeah, all those things. I mean,
obviously, I remember that time, and it even it chokes me up to a point when you see like the final light go out and Bobby turn the lights out and everything. Ooh. But for me, the memory that I believe is that the atmosphere will never be the same at Stratford. That's the one thing I will say there. And until they do bring the seats closer together and make it more of it's very, what's the word? It's like American, like American sport. Like, Jazz, you follow sports, and you've seen American sports, and it's like an American. When you go to the London Stadium, it's very corporate. Like, very sort of, it doesn't feel very old school. It feels very 21st century. And when you go to a football match, it's got to be, you want to keep the traditions the same. So you want to keep everything the same. You want your burger stalls, your hot dog stalls, your flag sellers. Do you know what I mean? You want people with their flags out, and it like to be a memorable experience. And I just don't.
Do you know? Yeah. I mean, you're right. What it is, I think, let's see what happens down the line. I don't know if we're going to have new owners, we're going to buy the ground, are we going to rebuild a new ground? We could have easily done Upton Park. But what used to get to me about Green Street, mate, is all the locals, because the original West Ham fans, as you know, without being controversial, they moved out. We were all out there. There was no one living there that supported West Ham. All those guys there, I remember they're watching Man United Arsenal at 1 o'clock in the afternoon before our kick-off, 3 with the Arsenal. So Green Street, we used to attack the area. But once we went home, that area wasn't West Ham anymore. It was a new kind of people. I don't want to be you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They weren't West Ham boys. They weren't local boys. They weren't local now, but I didn't give a shit about West Ham. Oh, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Same problem. West London. Same problem. East
If
London.
you,
I'd rather support
if you,
Liverpool, Arsenal, or Man United, mate. Yeah.
yeah, if you could have took something from the Boleyn and stuck it in Stratford, Jazz, what would you have done? Like, if you could have changed something, like, to make it feel more homely at the London Stadium, what would you have done?
I think it's the local shops, mate. It's Nathan's. It's kind of it's Nathan's, and your kind of burgers. Like I said, your program sellers, your badge sellers. Just make it a bit more homely. I mean, I think someone was saying that Frank McAvenny said that when I went inside the ground, there were pictures of Usain Bolt in there, and McAvenny's like, "What are you like doing, mate? Take his photo off." Put some West Ham boys in there. So what
Yeah.
is, even these Karen Brady's £1 million a year, they've only got it a little bit right now after we've had a go at them. They've got no brains of themselves, like, because they're not West Ham. They're not West Ham. Gold is, I know that. The other two definitely not. Brady's always up Daniel Levy's backside, always on about him. They're not West Ham, mate, and that's the difference. I know Terence Brown had his issues, Martin Kearns and them lot, but we've never had the owners, mate. I keep telling you that, and one day, hopefully, we'll have the right owners. Like I said, it'll be a collection of the local shops, I think, mate. Buy and mash, something like that. That might. I've heard there's a. Like I said, I didn't even know that Ribman's there. That shows you how big the complex is. So we go in from one side, and then my son said, "Yeah." He goes, "Dad, I think Ribman's on the other side, which takes you 25 minutes to walk to the other side."
Yeah.
But then it takes you half an hour to walk from the station to the ground. Then there's wind blowing across the whole bridge. It's just like, it's a pain in the ass, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's the only thing. Like, you haven't got your fanzine sellers, you haven't got your program sellers, you haven't got your badge sellers. It just, but I don't know if that's
you haven't got any.
mate.
I don't know about you before we come to the end, but I don't know about you, but there's no sort of history coming up to the ground. Like, it seems like you come out of Stratford, you can go in there, you can go in like a shop and buy something, and that's on your route to the ground. It's like, it's very sort of, there's no history there, is there? Like when you used to go to the Boleyn ground, there was history. You had the statue of the boys from '66 just up the road. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
and it's can you see what I'm saying, Jazz? There's no history there. There's just, like, you've got to sort of put your icons, like statues. Like if you go to like Arsenal, for instance, Arsenal have got statues all around their ground. They've got their.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's. I think that's what's maybe needed over there to sort of start making it feel like it's not just a sports arena. Do you know what I mean? That's what it seems like to me.
There's no good place to congregate before the ground. And I'll just say it away. James, I'll just say it away. There's a Carpenter's pub. I went in there, mate. Oh my God. Forget it. I ain't going in there, mate. There's no. Anyway, yeah, so I've got places like that. I end up going to a Mexican place with my kids and it costing me like £200 for burger and chips. What's the point? So there's no history, like you said. Just doesn't feel like home. You just kind of do what you need to do, mate. You get in there, and like I said, I go because I want to meet people like you. I'm on the boats. I'm on the sports bar. I'm meeting people. Sometimes I miss half the game because I just want to meet people. And then then for me, it's not about. And then I take the kids, make sure their connection with West Ham always remains. Get them addicted. Next generation carries the name forward. Yeah, it's just the best we're trying to do, mate. And obviously, I wanted that East Stand knocked down, get the ground wrapped up. I still got the actual planning and paper somewhere in my collection where they showed you how the ground was going to be. But if you remember, James, I think the season there was going to happen, or they're going to vote for it. We got relegated, so the previous people were actually going to do it, but we got relegated. So they're like, we can't put money into it now. But it was going to be a nice 45,000 like Stamford Bridge, I think, fully wrapped up. And when we went, forget our fans, my Chelsea buddies told me, he goes, West Ham have sold themselves. They're gone. The last proper club that we know. I mean, Fulham are probably the only one left now that is really called to its own. They're listed. They've still got that wooden bloody stand. And And even Gonzo mentions that all we needed was a Stamford Bridge 45, mate, and we would have been happy. But the flip side of it is I managed to get 2 free season tickets for my kids, quite good prices. But how should we say? It's a bit dry, and it's a bit dry, but we're making the most of it, mate. We're marching on. What can we do? It's too late to change anything. I mean, I wish I had the money to go back and build it again, mate, or we find someone that's got passion for our club. But certainly these owners, they don't have the passion. They're running our club like a corner shop, one in, one out, like I mentioned. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, mate. We're trying to make the most of it, aren't we? Yeah.
Nah, what it is, it's not so right. You can live in a new place, but if you want to make it feel like home, you've got to bring stuff with you, or bring some history with you.
Where's the museum? I don't even see it. Where's that museum? Meant to have a little bit of a museum.
I've got no idea.
Where's our 3 FA Cups? Where's our Cup Winners' Cup? Where's our shirts from '86? They've got no brains, mate. It's gone on auction and it's been flogged for money, mate. No, like Tottenham, you couldn't know where the old corner penalty spot is. They've done all these clever things. They've done everything because everyone's learned how not to do it, how not to move your ground. So everyone's learned from our model, you know, and they're all doing things better. Everton's going to get a new ground. They're going to know how to not. We haven't got, like you said, there's hardly anything there, mate. You know, there's no shirts, there's no boots. There's nothing there, mate. You know, Cup Winners' Cup. Where the hell is it? Just put it, get a replica, do something.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. And on that note, that is Jazz, and that is Jazz's Back to the Boleyn show. And
Back to the Boleyn show. You made me cry, you git. But there you go.
I know, mate. No, listen, it's all love. Yeah. It's all love, man.
Gatesy's eyes are bubbling up when Gatesy's unwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He kept eating well.
And this is my favourite home shirt. 1983. Love this shirt, mate. Billy Bonds. 83, 84, Sandy Clark and those people. Francois van Vendeles from Belgium. Yeah, it's been brilliant going back over.
Before I go, I just want to ask you a quick question, Jazz, on the badge. Yeah, what is your badge that you like? Do you like the cross irons? Do you like the castle?
No, I'm a castle guy, mate.
Yeah,
big time castle. There's a castle on Green Street. I'm a very historical, traditional guy, and our badge is very distinctive. We're famous for 3 things actually. Our colours, which only I think 3 clubs have got. Even my mum, non-footballing lady, she said, I love your colours, mate. You know, it's not your blue, red, everyone's got. These are unique colours. Castle's unique, and our nickname. No club has got a nickname as famous as us, the Hammers or the Iron. Every headline in newspapers, you know, used to be Hammer McIlvenny, Hammer Cotty, the Hammers destroyed, Hammered. So those 3 things I cannot live without, mate. Our castle, our nickname, and our colours. And you look at that badge, it looks like a 9-year-old kid has drawn it, doing his homework. You've got London on it, and you can know exactly, tasteless why they've done it to attract the foreign investors. And we haven't got we can't even find sponsors for the ground. We're right near Canary Wharf. All the banks are there. No one can be bothered. No, for me, it's the old, the castle, mate.
Castle.
Always will be. And I'm an old traditional guy. I'm not going to change. I don't like the new badge. It is what it is. But although we had that badge in '83, if you go back in history, we had that in '83 for 1 year. But don't have London on it, mate. That gets up a lot of people's backsides like me, mate. Yeah.
Well, that's fine, Jazz. That's fine, mate. Well, Jazz, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Really enjoyed your company on Back to the Boleyn. And I'll tell you what, it's good to hear some good history, like going back a long time, do you know what I mean? And even times when I was only a baby, do you know what I mean? I followed West Ham all my life, and my time was more 90s and noughties rather than, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I mean, there's a period I didn't know about. If you go back before me, they talk about the peanut seller, the chicken run. I don't know because I think I watched one game from the chicken run because my friend used to have a season ticket East Stand. So you're gonna have different stories. So some people even before me. So people from the 70s, which I'm not. So people are gonna give you different side to that. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been good, Jazz. So thanks for watching tonight, everyone. Back to the bowling. If you want to come on, like, share, subscribe as you do to Hammers Polls. It goes a long way. If you want to be in Jazzy's position, contact me with my where is it? There, here. Where is it? There. Right.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's the one. Right. Contact me there on Twitter, DM me, or follow me, and then DM me, and I will get you on in Jazzy's position. And it's been an absolute pleasure tonight. I've really enjoyed this one. I must admit, this is one of for me personally doing these. This is one of the favourite ones I've done so far. Like I've only done 4 now, and yeah, I do like history. Like that's one thing with me, and history with my club and all, like with our club, so to speak, is a good thing to learn. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's been an absolute pleasure, Jazz. And Jazz will catch up. Me and Jazz will catch up again with you soon. And take care. Like, share, subscribe, do all that. Goes a long way. Take care.